And again, we practice what we preach. We are purpose before profit. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started telling it like it is. It is live. If you have any questions, put them in there. If you're watching this after the fact on a social media channel, put your questions in there. They will get answered. I would like to thank Startup TNT and the Alberta Technology Symposium for sponsoring this. We are right in the middle of our Life Science Summit right now. And next week, the Clean Tech Summit has their top 20 pitches. The link will be up in the comments section soon. And of course, the Alberta Technology Symposium is going to be April 20th and 21st in Calgary. And we are going to showcase some of our top people and companies around Alberta. But we're going to talk about health sciences. We had Andrew McIsaac on last week, and now we have Dr. Nir Katchinskiy on today. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thanks, Jade, for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. I mean, I was lucky enough to get to know you through the last TNT Summit where you did win, and we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, I was just absolutely amazed at your technology and where you're coming and where you're going, and I can't wait to dive into it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, go ahead. Do you want me to talk about it?
No, I was just going to say, I'm just going to do a brief introduction, and then we'll start talking about PulseMedica, the company that you co-founded. So Nir's professional background includes developing, commercializing femtosecond laser and imaging technologies for biomedical applications. He completed his PhD and postdoctoral fellowship in the field of ultrafast optics and photo optics at the U of A. He is also a loving husband and a father of 2-year-old daughter Mila and a 3-year-old boy Noam. So, I mean, I was lucky enough and got to see all the the PulseMedica due diligence. So why don't you share how or why you founded PulseMedica and how you came up with this technology?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. So I like to talk about this from a historical perspective, kind of how it came to be. I've done my PhD studies at the U of A, just like you've described, and during my PhD studies, I've used a technology called femtosecond laser pulses. So a femtosecond is 1/1,000,000th of 1/1,000,000th of a second. That's how short these pulses are.
Wow.
And use these pulses to develop a lot of innovative medical technology for treatments, etc. I've done things like connecting cells together, neurons together, a new way to treat cancer with femtosecond laser pulses and nanoparticles. And I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I really wanted to take this technology to market eventually. I think there's a lot of promise. And so we started thinking, what would be the first thing to do? And the eye, particularly in the human eye, the eye is a great media for delivering laser pulses, right? It's optically transparent, and you can deliver to the spots that you want to deliver to very accurately. And so, start looking into that and realizing that eye disease is huge. And I actually did not know it before I started marching towards that direction. But I think the stats are about 500 million people worldwide suffering from eye disease, right? And some examples are macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so realized that there's a massive need. And then we came with an idea of, hey, we can deliver femtosecond laser pulses to treat a lot of these conditions. So what then the next logical step was, okay, let's start going towards that direction, and started with an experiment on a petri dish to demonstrate the concept, which was successful, and we published that. And afterwards I said, okay, let's move on from the petri dish. Let's start doing experiments on humans or animals to demonstrate the concept. And so the first thing that I was looking for is a device that lets me image the eye. So image the eye, not only just image it, but image it in 3 dimensions and real time, and to deliver the laser very accurately, right? And so, long story short, I couldn't find a device like this. So I said, okay, I'm gonna build it. So started building this imaging system. Over the years, got connected with a group of retina specialists here in Edmonton, who got really, really excited about the technology, about the ability to perform image-guided laser treatment, or kind of automated image-guided laser treatment. And so, this is kind of how everything came to be. And, looking into the future now, we're recognizing that in the healthcare industry, there's a big shift towards thinking around image guided treatment or automated treatment, right? And so this is essentially the foundation of our company, is how do we build a platform that lets us image the eye, and using a computer guided treatment and machine learning and artificial intelligence, build a treatment and do everything automatically and very, very precisely.
And I love that story, because it starts, and a lot of the people that I talk to kind of comes from that, man, I see a problem, I'm just going to fix it myself type mentality, right? Like I always say, it's the red green mentality of Canada. We just see it, we do it, we fix it, and come up with it. But the one thing that I love is that you've been able to put, like, everyone always says, oh, this technology comes from somewhere else, whatever it may be. But I mean, you've been able to build this in Alberta with people from Alberta. And of course you are, and we'll get into your hiring a little bit, but the talent is here. So, I mean, you've been able to contact and use talent in Alberta. Talk to that a bit.
Yeah. So, that is very interesting question. The way I like to talk about it just a little bit, and the way I strategically thought about it is, I've recently learned that there's something called, technology innovators, and there's business innovators, right? And kind of my bit of theory around technology innovators is technology innovators usually associated with, younger population, 20 to 40-year-olds. And then business innovators is a bit more experienced individuals who's kind of been there. And so young talent in Alberta exists. There's a lot of it, right? The University of Alberta, the University of Calgary. There's incredible people that, graduating from the university. And I've seen, during my PhD studies, I've seen some really, really smart, talented individuals. And so, what we've done when we started a company, we said, let's bring those, technology innovators, right? The young people who can help us build, and really prove the concept. And combining with, we found some people who were contractor and consultants who have a bit more experience in the space, specifically as contracts and consultants. Sorry, because I couldn't afford just bring them full time. But we could tap from some world class talent in that way, while building the team and mentoring and teaching all these individuals from here to grow to become these world recognized individuals. So that's kind of how we've done it over the years.
And I think I talk about that all the time, right? Hire a consultant, you know what you're good at, focus on what you're good at, and hire people to do the rest. And you don't have to bring in somebody right away and pay them a big salary. You can bring in somebody and try it before you buy it type thing, and get to a certain point, and then you can hire for it. So, we had a good conversation a little bit before about, the funds and how people are using them and how not to waste them and things along those lines. And to make your money go, whatever you have, whatever, if it's $100,000 or $10,000, you just have to make that go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. We've, even strategically, we've done things where, let's say we have regulatory consultants, right, that we're working with who are really, really world experts. And so what we've done is we brought somebody to the team who is young, who is ambitious, smart, is looking for mentorship. And what we went and said to these consultants is, we said, look, we have this individual here. They'll do all the work. You will be here to just guide them, mentor them, teach them, right? And so by combining the two together, you somewhat de-risking, because you know that there's somebody overseeing, but your money goes way farther by, as the team itself doing all the hard work.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I mean, and from what I've seen that your team is outstanding. And I mean, it's also got to be not only from a team standpoint, but it's got to be inspirational knowing that you're going to be finding a treatment for retinal disease. Like, how gratifying is that, knowing that you could be the company that has that treatment?
Yeah, I thought about it a bit last night on how to explain. One of the things that really motivates me around what we're doing. So, I'd like to kind of paint the picture of what's going on today in the the world of treatment and ophthalmology. In essence, first of all, I'll say that ophthalmologists are amazing. They work really, really, really hard. Some of them see 80 to 100 patients per day. It's hard work. And same for retina specialists. And if you suffer from eye disease today, you're in very good hands, because ophthalmologists are amazing. The technology is amazing. It's gone a very long way. but there's still a lot to innovate and there's still a lot to do. And so today, if you suffer from, let's say diabetic retinopathy, you're very likely going to have to go to the clinic once a month to get a needle in your eyeball, so an injection into your eye once a month until you go blind or for the rest of your life, right? And this is the standard of care. And yes, there's a lot of innovation that's coming in and people are working on really hard to change it. But this is the case today, and that's hard. That's hard on, hundreds of millions of people. And so, what excites me is how can we as a company come in and bring new technology to try and eliminate that need? How do we eliminate the need for people to get the needle in the eyeball once a month or going to the clinic once a month? And, it takes a big toll on individuals, right? Because it's not just that 5-10 minute visit. It's the rest of the day you're not able to see well because your eyes are dilated. Somebody needs to drive you back home. You may be irritated for a whole week after, and it's rinse and repeat, every month. So that's hard. That's really hard on people.
Oh no, absolutely. And not only the people that have the support system around them that has to be there too. So,
yes,
I mean, is I guess the question I have, does the retinal, any of that type thing, does it hit a certain age group?
Yeah, so it is typically age related mostly, right? So age related macular degeneration, right? So so that is typically age related, and I think the stats are, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's like if you're above 70, it's like 10% or 30%, or if you're above 80, it's like becoming 30%. It is very prevalent within the population. Diabetic retinopathy, for example, is associated with diabetes, right? And obviously, that's also somewhat associated with age and management of diabetes. So yeah, most people who are in the clinics today, I'm guessing, 60, 70, 80 years old, right? Who has to do it.
No, I know. No, and again, like you said, it's, someone has to drive them, someone has to possibly, look after them. So having some sort of a treatment for it that is a lot less intrusive and lasts longer, it's got to be, is this the right word? Game-changing technology?
Yeah, I think all of these technologies will be game-changing. I think that what is really game-changing about what we're building is so one, kind of providing a platform, so one single platform that can actually address a number of these conditions and almost all of these conditions in one platform. And second is kind of looking into the future, right? Like we have this vision that in 10, 20 years, everything is going to be completely automated, right? And why do we want things to be automated? For efficiency, that's one. For accuracy, right? And also to find better ways to treat certain things. And so that's what we're after, which we're thinking about, the future and how do we get there. I like to kind of say to people that the technology that we're building, sometimes when I look at it, I'm pretty stunned. To me, it's more futuristic than Star Wars. It's kind of a weird analogy because so in Star Wars, you have these Star Troopers that look and see all these like flying ships, and they try to like hit it, but like target everything by hand. It's humans who do it, right? And fire laser, and they miss. And with our system, we have image tracking and object detection and like the laser, like everything gets done automatically, and even if it's moving, it still hits the target. So I'm thinking to myself, whoever came up with the Star Wars idea, it's actually quite dated compared to what we're doing. But yeah, it is exciting. It is really exciting for us, for sure.
No, absolutely, and it's a good thing that you didn't name your company after Star Wars, though. No, I get, and again, and I can't speak enough to how impressed I am with your company, and of course, as I got to know you, and as we got to dive into the TNT process and things like that, we saw your passion for your team and what you want to build and the people that you're bringing on. So why don't we talk a little bit about your culture and of course your hiring, so we can talk a little bit about that. But what type of team are you putting together here?
Yeah, so what's interesting about our company is that we have a very cross platform individuals from many different fields, right? So we have electronics engineers and firmware engineers and software engineers and optical engineers and mechanical engineers and machine learning engineers. So we have a really diverse team, a regulatory, right, and another very important aspect for the company. So very, very diverse team. And it's actually I'm just remembering last week, it was one really inspiring moment for me when, so we were putting actually a big demo for some really big company. I won't mention names here, but we're trying to put a big demo to show, to demonstrate that Star Wars kind of technology that we're building.
Yeah.
So last week, for the entire week, I think there were, out of our team, there was a group of about 10 individuals from different teams, from software, machine learning, optics, electronics, working together like really, really closely for the entire week to put that demo together. And that was really, really awesome to see and inspirational. How that everybody from the different fields come in together and focus on delivering. And so in terms of talking about team and culture and things like that, I'm very passionate about it, and I think the biggest underlying mechanism for me to recognize it is because I'm a believer that people build businesses, right? You have no people, you have no business, realistically.
Exactly.
Right? And so I'm a big believer in how do we build a business that is, everybody is a part owner in it, right? So every employee has options in our business. For example, I'm a believer that if we succeed, I want everybody to succeed. um and culture, I think it's really important too, right? So first of all, everybody on our team right now is super passionate about the cause, and that is something that's very important for us to bring people, right? People who are very passionate about the cause, about the good of the company. Everybody loves coming into the office. We've been coming into the office every day throughout the whole pandemic, and everybody loves it. Like, they just love working with each other and with the instruments and being here. And and also culture and team, to me, it's more than just go have beers on Friday afternoon, or have a ping pong thing in the office. I think it's a lifestyle, right? I'm a big believer that I don't think that your work should be the stress in your life, right? I don't think that work should be what's causing you stress. I think that work should accommodate for the rest of your life. People have enough stress in their personal lives that I want to make sure that they're coming to work almost like as a vacation, and they love it, and they're just so passionate about it, and they enjoy what they're doing. And so a lot of the things that we're doing here are really driven by that understanding, and also commitment to people. So as an example, I don't know, somebody who's been in our team, let's say for a year, and says, I kind of want to move somewhere else, right? So my response to that person would be, great, can you work remote, right? Like, if you're able to work remotely and be effective in it, I want you to be part of it. Like, you've been part of it until now. I don't want to say, okay, goodbye because you're moving. Commitment to people and that passion about people, I think that's something that's really important for me and for the entire team.
And I think that's inspirational. And I'm a big fan of work's a thing you do, not a place you go. And I've been preaching that I'm a 26-year work from home guy. So, you don't have to sell me on that, right? And I do believe in, and not all jobs, obviously. My brother's a steel cutter. He can't do that job from home.
Yeah.
But yes, exactly. But yeah, I mean, and it's all about that culture, and I get that, like, from you all the way down, and the passion, and the people are going to stay, and when they love their job, they're better. People are the heartbeat of every single company, and the quicker that somebody realizes that, the more success you're going to have.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the other aspect too is, for startups, right? Like, for us as a startup, it's difficult to get world-class talent unless we have something to offer. Like, I cannot compete with Google or Amazon for salaries, right? There's no way, right? So we're trying to compensate people in another way, right? Which is being part owner in the company and having awesome culture and awesome place. But most of all, I had this discussion with somebody the other day that I think there's some statistics that show that Amazon and Google and all these big companies, they prefer hiring people from startups, right? And why? Because people who are being part of the startup from day one until the end are the only people who actually get to experience building something from scratch and touching everything along the way, right? Like, if you join a big organization tomorrow straight out of university, you're going to be responsible. You're going to, let's say, as a software engineer, you're going to write a piece of code. gonna go into a little block in somebody else's big system, and that's all you're gonna see, right? And for us, we have a small, software team who's
Yeah.
just as an example, they've designed everything from the ground up, right? Like from the architecture of the team and the thinking about how to architect and how to do it, and implementing everything. That wealth of experience that people are getting in startups is amazing. Like then, in 5 years in a startup organization, especially a successful one, you get snatched, right? Like you get snatched right away
Oh
into the
yeah.
market.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, you get snatched right away. There is no doubt. And again, I mean, I can't tell you how much that impresses me, because I am a people person. I want to meet somebody face to face. I love it when companies are like, you know what, you have to stay home. I had a company do that to me when I was in a car accident, right? They could have fired me. They could have said, no, no, no. But they're like, you know what, we value you. It was unfortunate. We know you're going to be laying in bed for a little bit here, but hey, get better, and we'll pick up your slack, and when you're back, we're good to go, right? And you the loyalty you feel to that, and you want to be part of it, and that is definitely something. And that kind of rolls into the TNT experience, right? That's the investment side of it. And I know you went through it, and obviously you were fortunate enough to win and get an investment from TNT. But I view it as really family, really team orientated, very from my weaknesses on the tech side, I got other people that I can rely on, and I trust them, and I feel them. So why don't you share your TNT experience?
Yeah. So, I think I mentioned to you earlier, and to a number of people, I was really blown away by the Startup TNT experience. Going into it, realistically, I did not know and fully understand what it's going to be like, right? And so as the team from TNT started doing their due diligence, I started realizing, wow, this due diligence process is amazing. Like people are diving super deep with amazing questions from different fields. They went all the way to like going to retina specialists and talking to them about the company, and what do they think about it, and some of our other investors, what do they think about that, and that was like incredible to see. So I feel very blessed that going through the process and being successful. But one of the things that I've really gained from it along the process is I got really, really good, or I guess better, I should say, better at explaining, what are we doing and what's the value proposition, and how to explain our business and value proposition to others. I got much better at it because of this process. Now the other thing is too, I've mentioned a number of times, it felt good. It felt really good going through a process, knowing that everybody else is going through such an amazing process that we kind of compete with, right? It's always a great feeling that you have awesome companies that are doing well and are on that stage, and competing for that investment. So that was great to see, and very encouraging too, that there's some amazing startups and amazing community here in Alberta and Saskatchewan as well.
No, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, right? Not only the how TNT works, and we hear that a lot, but it is an amazing entrepreneurial community here with so many amazing companies, and so many deserve investment. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I wish we could invest in all of them.
I told you earlier that as soon as I heard some pitches, I'm like, I'm investing in this one. Yeah, and we also talked earlier about how through the process, people can rely on the community of investors that ask some really amazing questions, right? Because sometimes I'll be, I'm a technology guy, I'm an innovator guy, I love ideas. And so when somebody pitches to me, I'm like, I'm in right away. And then somebody else who's way smarter than me ask a really good question, and I'll be, okay, well, maybe not, because that's actually a really good question.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have due diligence, right?
Yes, that's right.
Exactly. So what, you've kind of gone through your fundraising and you've got your investment. So what's next for PulseMedica?
Yeah, so this year, one of our biggest goals really is to do a first in human trial, right? So we have a clinical a clinical prototype that's here, it's working. We're doing some final testing and applications to Health Canada, etc. But really, that's one of our biggest goals, right? Is to demonstrate that our platform works. It works on a human, right? Like we're able to image, we're able to target. It's safe, it's effective, it does what's supposed to do. So that's step number one. That's really important to us. And then, this would lead us to our next and much bigger fundraising, right? Because we're going to need more funding to start taking everything we built so far and really build it into a commercializable product, right? So right now, I'm making the distinction between prototype and a product, right? There's differences here. And so how do we take everything we built so far and really transport it into a product that we can mass produce and sell?
Nice. And is that something like to get to a human trial that you think will happen this year? Is there a timeline for that?
Yes. So we're on target for this year for sure. So probably, most realistic timeline to start would be August, September of this year. That's nice. When we're targeting for. Yeah.
Oh man, that's excellent. I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes. And after you get to that human trial, like that human testing, how long does that last? And to you're kind of through that. I guess if everything goes perfectly, and we know why we do the testing, but if there are no really big hiccups, how long does that usually take?
So the testing that we're doing this year is really focused on accuracy and safety of our device, right? So doing that doesn't take years, right? So it could take a few months just to do on a number of patients. We've hit the targets that we're supposed to hit. It's effective, it's safe. So the trial itself is actually quite short, right? Okay. And so if we're successful, then the path from there is right away move to commercialization, productization, I should say. And then from there, we expect about a year and a half until we, start selling.
Nice. Well, that's great. I hope everything goes well on that end, and you're within a year, you're going into commercialization. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I know you don't. I know you're not going to disagree with that.
No. I'm working. Well, the team is working really hard to hit all these milestones and get things going.
Nice. Nice. Man, and I didn't realize until, I was lucky enough that we got a tour of the life sciences building here. And of course, our life sciences summit that's running right now. And the 20 companies that are, we had 30 some apply, and the 20 that are in there right now are just like, wow. I didn't realize what a community that isn't just in Alberta.
Yeah. So one thing I actually wanted to share, right? So kind of going through the startup TNT experience.
Yeah.
Just as an example, right now we're very focused on hiring, right? So hiring is becoming a really important thing for us, for a lot of software engineers and firmware engineers. So by the way, if you're interested, apply. But when we're hiring, for example, what I've done is I've reached to the startup TNT community of investors that have invested in our company. And I said, hey, we're hiring. We need help finding some really good talent. And so, people from that community are really, really helping us to go and say, hey, I know this person, or I'm going to forward that person. Or I even had one of the investors who has a ton of experience in software industry who went with me together and helped me even edit the job posting. Right? Like, how amazing is that? How come? Like, where do you find an investor that's going to sit with you and help you even edit job posting? That's amazing. For example, we're looking for a new space, right, for an office space. So same thing. We've reached out, got some people from our investment group through Startup TNT, right, who are in the business real estate world. That said, hey, we're here. We're here to help to find some new space. So that connection to the community here is amazing. I think that's as valuable as the money that you're going to get from the investment.
Oh, you must be listening to me talk, because I tell that all the time. You must have watched the prior episode, because I say when you come through the TNT process, the people and the connections that you're going to have are going to be more valuable than any money that you may receive. And you just kind of, again, you reiterated that point that it's everyone's here to help. We're such a collaborative ecosystem, and even ones that don't get anything. We've helped companies for 5, 6, 7 months just to make sure that they're going down the right path to make them successful. So it's not just companies that win; it's all the companies.
Yeah, that's great. And even us, right? Like if anybody needs help and we can help in some way, reach out, right? I'm happy to help for sure.
Oh, and again, anybody that wants any more information on PulseMedica, just click on the comment section, pulsemedica.com. It's right there. It'll take you there. I'm always sad when these conversations come to an end because they're always so. I always get so excited, and it's always so inspiring. After hearing all the great things that you're doing, and then the culture, and the team that you're building. But my last question, it's always the same, and I thought it would be gone, long gone, and I would have had all the answers within about 6 months. But here we are, 4 and change years later, and I'm still asking the same question. So, if you had one piece of advice for a small business, startup, or entrepreneur, what would that be?
My first go-to is be humble. I think this is the number one thing: is be humble, be open-minded, and flexible in your thinking, right? So for example, going into it, I've admittedly said to everybody, I don't know anything about everything about everything. Sorry, right? Like, especially from academia into building business, or building business in the medical device space. I think kind of recognizing the things that you lack, and then bringing the right people and the right mentors to work with you and help you with that. I think that is so important to do. That is really, really critical. So this is my mantra, which is I'm here to learn from everybody, and probably everybody has really good things to say.
Oh, that's a great one. I'm gonna steal that. I'm here to learn from everybody. I love that. I think that's a great mantra.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear me say that. I'm definitely gonna give you credit for it, right? So,
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
no, I really appreciate you, Nir, spending your time and sharing your knowledge and stories with us. Like, it is outstanding, and it's companies and people like you that keep telling it like it is going, because there's so many great things that are happening out there, and we don't have enough mountaintops to shout from, in my opinion. So thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much, Jade. Yeah, really appreciate it, and have a great day. And to everybody, have a great day.
Yes, everybody have a great day, and we will see everybody.